With the very troubling war taking place in the state of Israel, many are left wondering what the possible underlying implications could be. This week, the state of Israel issued that it was officially in a state of war against the Hamas terrorist faction. Another prominent event to soon take place is the sacrificing of the red heifers recently given to the Jewish people to make a holy sacrifice on the Mountain of Olives. Could these events be related at all? Welcome back to Alternative Notions, where we take alternative stances and allow free thinking to proliferate the minds of our viewers. We will cite articles on this topic and give our perspective after. Then, you can give yours in the comments section. Make sure to like if you enjoyed the content and subscribe for more. Taken from CBN.com. Last September, 5 red heifers arrived in Israel amid great fanfare, because some Jews and Gentiles believe red heifers are a key element leading to the building of the third Jewish temple. The heifers are now in a secure, undisclosed location in Israel. Plans include moving them, sometime soon, to a visitor center in Shiloh, where the tabernacle of the Lord once stood for nearly 400 years. The Jewish English translation of the Book of Numbers explains that ashes of the red heifer are used to purify priests for their service in the temple. YHWH spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, "This is the ritual law that YHWH has commanded. Instruct the Israelite people to bring you a red cow without blemish, in which there is no defect and on which no yoke has been laid. You shall give it to Eleazar the priest. It shall be taken outside the camp and slaughtered in his presence. Eleazar the priest shall take some of its blood with his finger and sprinkle it 7 times toward the front of the tent of meeting. The cow shall be burned in his sight, its hide, flesh, and blood shall be burned, its dung included. And the priest shall take cedar wood, hyssop, and crimson stuff, and throw them into the fire consuming the cow. The priest shall wash his garments and bathe his body in water. After that the priest may re-enter the camp, but he shall be impure until evening. The one who performed the burning shall also wash those garments in water, bathe in water, and be impure until evening. Another party who is pure shall gather up the ashes of the cow and deposit them outside the camp in a pure place, to be kept for water of lustration for the Israelite community. It is for purgation. The one who gathers up the ashes of the cow shall also wash those clothes and be impure until evening. This shall be a permanent law for the Israelites and for the strangers who reside among them. Those who touch the corpse of any human being shall be impure for 7 days. They shall purify themselves with the ashes on the 3rd day and on the 7th day, and then be pure. If they fail to purify themselves on the 3rd and 7th days, they shall not be pure. Those who touch a corpse, the body of a person who has died, and do not purify themselves, defile YHWH's tabernacle. Those persons shall be cut off from Israel. Since the water of lustration was not dashed on them, they remain impure, their impurity is still upon them. This is the ritual: when a person dies in a tent, whoever enters the tent and whoever is in the tent shall be impure 7 days. And every open vessel, with no lid fastened down, shall be impure. And in the open, anyone who touches a person who was killed or who died naturally, or human bone, or a grave, shall be impure 7 days. Some of the ashes from the fire of purgation shall be taken for the impure person, and fresh water shall be added to them in a vessel. Another party who is pure shall take hyssop, dip it in the water, and sprinkle on the tent and on all the vessels and people who were there, or on the one who touched the bones or the person who was killed or died naturally or the grave. The pure person shall sprinkle it upon the impure person on the 3rd day and on the 7th day, thus purifying that person by the 7th day. The one being purified shall then wash those clothes and bathe in water, and at nightfall shall be pure. If any party who has become impure fails to undergo purification, that person shall be cut off from the congregation for having defiled YHWH's sanctuary. The water of lustration was not dashed on that person, who is impure. That shall be for them a law for all time. Further, the one who sprinkled the water of lustration shall wash those clothes, and whoever touches the water of lustration shall be impure until evening. Whatever that impure person touches shall be impure, and the person who touches the impure one shall be impure until evening. These red heifers are now between 1.5 and 2 years old. To replicate the ceremony mentioned in the Bible, they need to be at least 3 years old. And within that time span, They cannot have a blemish or anything that would disqualify them for the ceremony, even one white or black hair. According to those working on the project, the ceremony of the red heifer needs to be performed on the Mount of Olives, and in a place that would have looked directly into where the temple stood. The land directly east of the Temple Mount, purchased 12 years ago, meets both of those standards. Rabbi Yitzhak Mamo owns that land on the Mount of Olives. Mamo is with Avn Yerushalayim, a group that preserves Israel's history and works to educate future generations. Concerning the specifics of the land, he told CBN News, it had to be exactly at the front of the place that the priest that made this ceremony can see the holy of the holy place. Rabbi Mamo added, and we hope that in a year and a half from today, we can make here in this area the ceremony of the red heifer that actually will be the first step to the temple. He says the ceremony needs priests who have not been defiled by touching anything dead. The Temple Institute actually have 9 pure priests, the rabbi explained. They didn't born in hospital, okay? They born at home. Because they are priests. So anyway, they don't go to any cemetery. And the parents keep them in a situation that they will not get to any cemetery, not going to any problematic place. He added, and they are pure, and they are waiting. So, we have the priest, we have the red heifer, we have the land. We have everything ready. We just need to wait another 1.5 years. Byron Stinson from Bone Israel helped find the red heifers in the United States. So we believe that it's very likely that the ceremony would happen somewhere in the area of Passover, 2024, out to the possibility of Shavuot, 2024, Stinson said. Somewhere in that timeline, the cows would be old enough and it would be the proper timeline for that ceremony. Stinson believes this would be the first possibility for such a ceremony in 2,000 years, and that the process toward building a third Jewish temple began when the Jewish people started their return to the Promised Land from the 4 corners of the world, culminating with Israel becoming a nation. And then in 1948, in one day, they were reborn as a nation, and nobody said that could happen. And then, you move forward, and Israel continues to be this strong nation and all of these prophecies start fulfilling, he said. There's so many now being fulfilled, is just incredible. The evidence of what God is doing with Jerusalem is the center of that. And the temple is the center of Jerusalem, and so how can it happen and how will it happen? I don't think anyone really knows for sure. Stinson maintains the temple is meant to be a house of prayer for all nations. You know, in the Bible it says when Solomon built the first temple, he said, "This is a house of worship for all nations." And that's what the temple is. And I think a lot of people think it's just a Jewish temple, but that's not true. It's for all the nations of the earth, he said. Author Joel Rosenberg wrote about the third temple in his novel, The Copper Scroll. He told CBN News that Jews have different views on the subject. Jews are actually divided between, does the Messiah himself have to come and build the temple, or do you build the temple and the Messiah comes? So, among those Jews, Israelis, who care, they're divided into 2 different camps. Rosenberg added, I think most Israelis don't think about it, don't care, and actually would get a little worried of talk of a third temple, because we already have enough trouble. Rosenberg also sees various points of view throughout the Christian community. Those who think about it and those who don't. Most Christians, I think, don't think about the third temple. But those who do believe that it will be built before Jesus returns, for the second coming, not necessarily before the rapture, but definitely before the second coming, and that the Antichrist will take over that third temple during the tribulation and try to rule the world from there. He continued, could it happen in our lifetime? That, to me, is intriguing. I think we don't know, but there are some Jews who are really making, as you're reporting on, preparations to get ready for that moment, and that's something to watch closely. Stinson told CBN News they plan to invite everyone to the red heifer ceremony that may take place during Passover, 2024. Everything is in place now with the red heifers. As long as they stay pure, one of them stays pure. Then we have everything in place, including the priest, he explained. Rabbi Mamo recalled the writings of the Jewish sage Maimonides, who counted 9 red heifers from Moses to the time of the Second Temple. It's not his way to write, but suddenly he said that the 10th heifer will make the coming of Messiah, he said. So maybe, not maybe, we know that the Messiah will make the 10th. Maybe we have the privilege to be one of these people that help the Messiah to do it. That's it. So, we're waiting. While they may need one more heifer, they may not need 1.5 more years. In an interview, Byron Stinson claimed that the calves only need to be a little over 2 years old in order for them to be eligible.
The mark on when they can be used for the ceremony is actually at 2 years and 1 day. They have to be in their 3rd year. There's a lot of misconception. People are saying they have to be three, so in their 4th year. But no, they have to be going into their 3rd year, and then it's okay.
This would mean that the calves would be eligible for sacrifice in October 2023. We find this to be interesting. Taken from the website timesofisrael.org. Mounting questions over Israel's massive intelligence failure to anticipate and prepare for a surprise Hamas assault were compounded Monday when an Egyptian intelligence official said that Jerusalem had ignored repeated warnings that the Gaza-based terror group was planning something big, which included an apparent direct notice from Cairo's intelligence minister to the prime minister. The Egyptian official said Egypt, which often serves as a mediator between Israel and Hamas, had spoken repeatedly with the Israelis about something big, without elaborating. He said Israeli officials were focused on the West Bank and played down the threat from Gaza. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government is made up of supporters of West Bank settlers who have demanded a security crackdown there in the face of a rising tide of violence over the last 18 months. We have warned them an explosion of the situation is coming, and very soon, and it would be big. But they underestimated such warnings, the official, who spoke on condition of anonymity because he wasn't authorized to discuss the content of sensitive intelligence discussions with the media, told the Associated Press. Netanyahu denied receiving any such advance warning, saying in the course of an address to the nation Monday night that the story was fake news. No early message came from Egypt, and the Prime Minister did not speak or meet with the intelligence chief since the establishment of the government, not indirectly or directly, his office said in a statement earlier in the day. In one of the said warnings, Egypt's Intelligence Minister General Abbas Kamel personally called Netanyahu only 10 days before the massive attack that Gazans were likely to do something unusual, a terrible operation, according to the Ynet news site. Unnamed Egyptian officials told the site they were shocked by Netanyahu's indifference to the news and said the premier told the minister the military was submerged in troubles in the West Bank. However, Israel was not only reportedly ignoring clear warnings from its allies. For Palestinians in Gaza, Israel's eyes are never very far away. Surveillance drones buzz constantly in the skies. The highly secured border is awash with security cameras and soldiers on guard. Intelligence agencies work sources and cyber capabilities to draw out information. But Israel's eyes appeared to have been closed in the lead-up to the surprise onslaught by the Hamas terror group, which broke through Israeli border barriers and sent hundreds of terrorists into Israel to carry out a brazen attack that killed over 700 people and wounded over 2,000. Israel's intelligence agencies have gained an aura of invincibility over the decades because of a string of achievements. Israel has foiled plots seated in the West Bank, allegedly hunted down Hamas operatives in Dubai, and has been accused of killing Iranian nuclear scientists in the heart of Iran. Even when their efforts have stumbled, agencies like the Mossad, Shin Bet and military intelligence have maintained their mystique. But the weekend's assault, which caught Israel off guard on a major Jewish holiday, plunges that reputation into doubt and raises questions about the country's readiness in the face of a weaker but determined foe. Over 48 hours after the start of the attack, Hamas terrorists continued to battle Israeli forces inside Israeli territory, and over 100 Israelis were in Hamas captivity in Gaza. This is a major failure, said Yaakov Amadrur, a former national security advisor to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. This operation actually proves that the intelligence abilities in Gaza were no good. The Israeli government showed a lot of so-called negligence to the ensuing attack from the Hamas group after being warned multiple times. Is this truly a lack of intelligence, or could this be something else? As we have spoken about, the red heifers are due to be eligible for sacrifice only a little after 2 years, which would be this month of October. While it isn't certain that these red heifers will be sacrificed on the Mountain of Olives this month, it is a possibility. What we do know is that it could be done at any period of time, and the gloves are now off. Could this war in the state of Israel be connected to these red heifers? Is this building something greater that could have worldwide implications? Is the Israeli government turning a blind eye and possibly facilitating this event? Who is funding the Hamas? What do you think? Of course, this was just another alternative notion. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content. Until next time, keep seeking.